So there's a lot of information out there. It can be overwhelming with all the spiritual approaches to life and reality, and how do you shift out of the 3D and live in 5D consciousness? What is ascension? Is it a real thing? And, is it a bunch of crap? It's not. It's very real. It's just the limited programs you've been living in that make you think that maybe it's not for real, or that they're so overwhelming you keep getting stuck in them that you think that it's not possible for you, or it's too of a lofty ideal or something like that. And there's all this stuff you have to do in order to live in the 5D. And are you really, what is it really, right? So I just want to break it down in a simpler model. To me, this 3-dimensional and 5th-dimensional and beyond consciousness, and how it actually relates to how we experience reality right here, right now, in our human experience. Because we all know the 3D world, right? I mean, there's the 3-dimensional world that we're experiencing. It's real. It's what life is. It's what we're here to enjoy and live in. But within our consciousness, within our energy, our experience, there actually are 3 dimensions, 3 realities going on within us. And when that's all you know, then you're stuck in the 3D. You're in that 3D matrix, and that world has a lot of controlling energetics and paradigms. It's these programs that are running the show. And when you're in this 3D only, which I'm going to explain what those are in a minute, you're just stuck in the programs. You're really just experiencing reality from this program level. You're not experiencing the fullness of who you are, and that's what breaking free from the 3D and living in higher consciousness, living in true reality in the 5th dimension and beyond is all about. So these 3 dimensions is your thoughts, your feelings, and your desire, your will or your action, that third one, what you're embodying here. Thoughts, feelings, and actions is the simplest way. Or thinking, feeling, and willing, right? Or see it, feel it, and be it. There's these different teachings helping us to tune in to the 3-dimensional aspects of our consciousness. Every way that you're experiencing reality in every moment is through one of these 3. Either thinking about it, having feelings about it, or being it. Your desires, what you're wanting, which goes back to thoughts and feelings. Now these also exist within our mind. There's these 3 different centers of the brain. They also exist within our body and our field of energy. There's this upper energy, which is our thoughts. There's this middle energy, our heart, our feelings. There's this lower realm, the shadow, and our will and our action, our desires, our embodied physicality, the physical, emotional, mental. This is 3D, the 3 dimensions of consciousness. But that's not all we are. So breaking out of the 3D is some sort of experience, some kind of awakening experience through meditation, retreats, accidents. People woke up through 9/11 because it was so shattering, or through plant medicines, or through beautiful ecstatic experiences. They give you this moment where you break free from that and you feel this I feel so good, I feel so free, I connected, alive. And then we come back into the 3D, back into this 3 dimensions of our consciousness, back into the 3D world that we're experiencing, and just all we know is that limitation. We're back in the full 3D only experience of ourself. And so these energetic centers, you could relate them to the chakras. And we have this heart chakra, the feeling realm. The throat is the initial, this is how I see the initial 3D perspective is the mental body. And then the solar plexus in our belly is that physical body. These 3 dimensions of our experience. And that's all we know. And when we have an awakening, it breaks us out of that egoic patterning, the programs of only those 3. We experience some sort of expanded consciousness. This is another reason why people say expansion of consciousness, because it's not in this limited, constricted area here, or only in our mind, the limitations of this 3D reality. And now the next chakras, the third eye chakra becomes awake, and the solar, or the sacral, becomes awake. It becomes a part of your consciousness. It becomes available to you. So that's fifth dimensional. You have 5 dimensions of consciousness. Now you have thinking, feeling, being, willing. The fourth, I consider your energetic body. This is the bridge into fifth dimensional. And when you begin to access fifth dimensional consciousness, now you have things like intuition and sensing things, and like feeling this flow of reality, and intuiting wisdom, and there's like higher guidance. There's things that can come in that's beyond your thoughts, feelings, and your action. You're in this fifth dimensional, and it opens up your chakras to the next level. So instead of just being the solar plexus, heart, and throat, now you have the sacral and the third eye. Now you've got 5 dimensions of experience. And the sacral being like our connection with each other, intimacy, feeling that intimate connection of energy, sensing. And the third eye is this intuiting wisdom, right? They become part of our consciousness, our ability to tune into those. But if you're in the 3D only, that sounds like a bunch of crap. You can't do it because you're in 3D only. And so it's the energy body, this fourth dimension, which is the vehicle that expands us into the fifth. And it's through the alignment, learning to sense. Of course, you need some sort of awakening experience to expand you beyond the 3D. I don't know that you can just do it on your own. You need some sort of grace from life that expands you beyond that. And once you have that, now you can start to tune in to the energy of your consciousness and sensing resonance, feeling the resonance of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And this becomes your guidance system, which again, I don't think is really accessible to you in the 3D realm. This becomes fourth, fifth, and beyond consciousness. And it's expanding your consciousness because now there's more available to you, more bandwidth, more information, more capacity. And then the seventh would be expanding up into your crown chakra and the connection to source above. And then your root chakra and down into the earth. And you become this fully embodied seventh dimensional human, an embodiment of your divine perfection. And maybe there's more. I've heard 9 and 13 and on chakras. So maybe we can keep expanding our consciousness into these different levels of energetic capacity relating to our chakras and how we're experiencing reality. But the very simple and most profound shift is the one from 3D into the fifth dimensional consciousness, which you could also just simply say, now when you're in 5D, you recognize, you sense, you feel, know that God is real, that there is wisdom in life, God's source, wisdom, energy, guidance, angels. They're all here, and you can sense them, feel them, communicate, receive, and share, and feel the energy of other people, and feel the energy of things. This is all fifth dimensional experiences, which you can't have in the 3D. And then as you go on the journey of spiritual awakening, and this truly is like the beginning, when you have an awakening to higher consciousness, to fifth dimensional consciousness, that's like the beginning of your spiritual journey. And then you go on a path that's unique to you, how you're here to learn and embody and become who you are and bring through the gifts of who you are into the world. That's the path. And the culmination, to me, spiritually, the spiritual journey is when you become a fully embodied presence of divine love and source here on the planet, fully unified in your humanness and your godness, all here and fully expanded in all your chakras and the dimensions of experience. There's even a teaching in the Bible that talks about the Merkaba and how it helps you move through the 7 dimensions and into the throne of God. Find it fascinating. These 7 chakras, 7 dimensions of consciousness. The Merkaba is your vehicle. It's the energy, the chariot that you can ride into the throne of God. Like not before it, not next to it, into it, to be God, to be the throne of God that you are, the divine perfection that you are. This is way back in the Bible. A lot of people just gloss over that one or whatever, but there it is. And the Merkaba is working with the field of our energy, working with that wisdom that comes from awakening to the 5D. So there's all these things about ascension symptoms and are you living in 5D and all these things. And so I'm, I guess trying to simplify it here, help you break free. Because even though you're awake, without the real awareness of what's going on and how to work with your energy, how to work with this field, these dimensions of yourself, you get lost in the 3D patterns, because that's our main way of interfacing with reality, through our thoughts, feelings, and our actions. This is where the main limiting programs come in. They take over us, and we get lost in them. So if you really want to break free, the path is through attunement, alignment, learning to sense and feel your energy and resonance, feeling alignment of thoughts, feelings, and actions, and attuning to higher truth. This is the profound wisdom that came to me when I really began to embody the source, to know myself as the one, and all of life as the one. To know that I'm God, you're God, we're God, everything is. And I don't mean that as a thought, I mean as an embodied experience. And after I started to, grok that inside of myself, in my energy, my awareness, my human experience, the discernment of truth and non-truth, or what I call resonance and dissonance now, is what really began to show itself to me. Because I would get lost in the dissonance, in all of my suffering, the struggle, all the drama and trauma of the 3D. But I was learning how to tune. How do you tune back in? How do you come back into alignment, into this source state, into God mode? And be that. And realizing that the belief systems and the frequencies, the energetics that are attached to dissonance when we're out of alignment, and how that makes us suffer, how we feel. And how to tune back in. Find that resonance, expanding your energy into your fullness, working with the energy of your field, your Merkaba. All this teachings about doing that are here for a reason. Breath work and breathing into your chakras and moving energy and Qigong. These are all here to help you find alignment, attunement with the truth, with what's really real inside of you. Because that's where it lives. That's where God lives. That's where our truth lives. That's where your divine perfection lives. That's where you will realize that everything I'm sharing here is not some ideas or concepts, but the lived true reality that you are, and you're here to live and embody and be in this world. So, that's the download for today. Tuning into this 3-dimensional aspects of yourself. And how do you expand beyond that into the 5 dimensions and beyond? And it's through alignment. It's always the number one key and rule for yourself. Learn to feel and tune into the alignment within yourself and set yourself free. Break free from that 3D. Live in that true reality. I love you so much. Even if I don't know you, I don't know who you are, I love you because we're all one. And you're welcome here. Wishing you many blessings.